Hi, good evening, and welcome to THFC Till I Die, your home at Tottenham from past to present. And tonight we are doing the pre-match show for Tottenham against them bubble squeaking, little toe rags, Barney supporting team down in East London. And joining me on this trip down, trying to keep Barney up the arse lane, it's my usual co-host, Philip Brady. Philip, how are you this evening?
Yeah, great. Looking forward to this match. I think it's one that we should be winning and hopefully will do. So let's see what
Oh yeah,
happens.
we should do. And look, and if you see any Barney out there blowing their bubbles, just give them a I'll just kick up the ass.
Yeah,
It's their cup final, Philip. It's not
it
ours.
always
It's their
is.
cup.
It always
Yeah,
is. We don't give a toss about them. They think that they think they're on the same level as us, which is patently wrong.
it is.
They're way
They,
below us.
they are smoking too many bubbles down that part of London. They really
Yeah,
are. Well, let's
yeah.
see who's in the chat, Philip, before we get cracking. We've got big up Queen Ellie Spurs Ladies channel. Everyone, please get over there and subscribe to our sister channel. She went, "Hey lads, I think I'm midfield.
Fill in the blanks.
Fill in the blank. Yeah,
Fill in the blanks.
I think our midfield looks great with
Is
Højbjerg in it."
yeah. I think that's what she meant to say. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Hasper, big up Hasper TV. He says, "Come on, you Spurs." We've got Daniel Cito, big up Daniel. Come on, you Spurs again. We've got Moondog, big up
Good
Moondog.
evening.
Good evening. Big up Mick Harmlick says, "Good evening" as
Hi,
well.
Mick.
Andrew Gregory, good evening, Dermot and Philip. Good evening, Andrew. Mick then says,
Andrew.
"Good evening, Dermot and Philip. Good evening, Mick."
Hi, Mick.
And then Moondog says, "At Mick Hamlock, big up Mick. Hope you're doing well, mate." And that's great. Right. Philip, we've got a bit of breaking news now to start with before we get into
Mm,
this. Firstly, we've got the Qataris bidding for a 100% bid from Manchester United. And if they
right.
got up to, I think, to 10 o'clock tonight for bids to be accepted by the American bank. And also, Lee Mason has resigned from the VAR company who does VAR by mutual consent. So, what's your
Mm.
thoughts on both them subjects? News breaking this evening.
Well, the Man United one is kind of news to me. I wasn't aware of that one. But is that the same Qatari crowd that owns PSG?
No, it's a different
It
Qatari
can't be.
crowd.
It has to be a different one, yeah. And they're only giving them until 10 o'clock tonight to accept. That's really putting the gun to their heads. And how much have they
Mm.
offered, you know?
They haven't said they've offered. I think they've offered so much for 100% of Manchester
Right.
United. And
Well,
then
it's
Lee
got to be
Mason. Let
6
me get more
billion.
news on that, Philip. And then you want to talk about Lee
Yeah.
Mason, and then
Yeah, Lee Mason was the VAR official who disallowed allowed the Brentford equaliser against the Unmentionables last weekend.
Mm,
And there's been a lot of furore about that, and it went to such ridiculous lengths that Mikel Arteta was demanding the 2 points. I mean, come on, what planet are you on, Mikel? Did you ever see a match result changed after it was over? But Lee Mason has obviously fallen on his sword here. It's by mutual
mm,
consent, which I take it to mean the referees association told him he was fired, and he says, "Yeah, okay, I'll go," because I don't
yeah.
think he would have been hounded anywhere he went after making that mistake. It's a pity. Lee Mason was not the worst referee. He wasn't the worst of
No.
them. And now he's gone, and they'll probably replace him with some young fellow who's no experience and will make the same mistake as he did. So,
Mm, yeah.
yeah, he's
That's
resigned from refereeing completely. I think it's not just VAR. He's gone from the Premier League
mm,
list.
yeah.
Now, unless he goes into lower league football, I don't know. Maybe he will, but
Yeah.
he's gone anyway.
Right. This Qatari Philip. Qatar confirms Man United bid ahead of deadline with debt-free admission. Sheikh Jazam bid Hamed Bear Jabba
Mm.
something as a big
He's not
London
from
man.
he's not from Wexford anyway.
No, and also he's not from Manchester either.
No.
Um, the chairman of one of Qatar's biggest banks now, which is not the same as the same people that
Okay.
own PSG.
Okay.
Biggest banks have confirmed he will bid 100% takeover at Man United. He is the son of former Qatari Prime Minister. The deadline for interest parties is 10 p.m. on Friday night as the Rain Group, who I think is a bank in America, who are acting on behalf of the Premier League club, look to finalise their options.
Right.
So,
Seems very quick. It seems very quick. I
yeah,
mean, what about Jim Ratcliffe? Has he not got time to make a counter proposal?
he actually hasn't put a bid in. He
Yeah,
actually did. He's put an interested bid, but he hasn't actually put a bid in, which leads me to believe
down
he's
to us.
he's going to go for Tottenham.
Down to us. Get on the train, and we're already sponsored by one of his companies.
Yeah,
So there is a line in there. So that's very interesting. To hell with the United bit. I couldn't care less who buys them. I'd be more
no,
concerned. Jim Ratcliffe would be a perfect purchaser for Spurs. He's
mm,
English. There's no skeletons in the cupboard. There's no human rights abuses.
no,
There's nothing. He'd be absolutely perfect.
mm,
The only thing is he going to offer the money that Levy and Jim Lewis will accept?
yeah.
Or Jim
Well, that
Joe Lewis.
that is that is the news that's coming out of football tonight with Lee Mason and this
Hmm.
unbelievable. It's an unbelievable takeover of the one of the biggest clubs in Europe as well, Manchester United.
Yeah, yeah.
Look, we're up for sale. I think every Premier League club's up for sale in one way or the other.
But Levy
Um,
Levy is now saying we're not for sale. I mean, he came out yesterday when the bid was supposedly coming in from the Iranian guy
mm,
that Spurs are not for sale. Although I take that as a dog whistle to the man that your bid wasn't big enough. Come back
yeah,
with a bigger one.
yeah. But look, I just don't know. I just fear I think every team then, apart from us, will be owned by a foreign owner.
Yeah, wouldn't it be great to be the exception? Wouldn't it really be fly the flag,
Yeah,
have a homegrown owner and
but I look, Jim Radcliffe, I think would be an ideal owner for us.
he would absolutely. And the
But
fact that
anyway,
he's done business with Levy already over the sponsorship deal, he knows what
yeah,
he's dealing with here, so that's a bit of a help.
it is. But anyway, Philip, shall we crack on?
Yeah.
Right, we are playing the mighty small club from East London. The mighty Spurs are playing some bobber blowing team from East London,
Mm-hmm.
and we're playing them on Sunday. And if you want to know where the game is, I shall get that up for you now. The game is at London Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday the 19th, 4:30 kickoff in the UK, 11:30 Eastern Time and 8:30 in the morning at Pacific Time. Tottenham's last head-to-head for the last 5 results. Tottenham 2 wins, West Ham 2 wins, 1 draws. Tottenham's current form, both of them, is Tottenham 3 wins and 2 defeats. West Ham 2 wins, 2 draws and a defeat, Philip.
Yeah, yeah.
The
And just to
referee...
say that the sorry, go on.
Yeah, go on, Philip.
No, it's just the game is on Sky Sports here.
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure
I'm
where
going to
it
get
is
to
in
that. I'm
America.
going to show you that
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
end.
yeah. Okay.
Paul Tierney will be the official Sunday for the referee on match Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Costine Hastwicks and Neil Davis will be lined up to be his assistants. Peter Banks as the 4th official, and Gerard Gillette and assistant Nick Hopton will be in charge of VAR.
God, there's a lot
And
of new
then
names there, isn't there? A
there
lot of new
is.
names.
Of course, if you're in the UK, you can watch it on Sky Go, Sky Sports Main Event, Sky Sports Premier League, Sky Ultra HD. If you're in the United States, you can watch it NBE Sports and all their mother channels. And if you're coming out of Canada, you can watch it on Fubo TV in Canada. So that's where you can watch the game. We've got a couple of super chats, Philip, and then we shall crack on with the team, with the press conference start off with. Moondog, big up Moondog. Thank you so much for the super chat. He goes, I can't see Lewis and Levy ever selling. I think they will sell. I have funny feeling by this time next year we'll be under new owners.
If the magic number is
Personally.
reached, whatever that magic number is, then I think they will sell. But I don't, unless Jim Ratcliffe can come in with an offer this season, I don't think it's going to happen, as you say. Not going to happen that quick. It may happen during the summer months. We don't know. So we don't know what's going on in the background here, really. We do not know. We haven't a clue. And a lot of it's only surmising. There has been a talk of a bid being made by the Iranian-American guy, which doesn't appear to reach what Levy is looking for. And hopefully someone else like Ratcliffe can come along and do it and keep us home owned, if you like, for want of a better word. And no, that's no offense to the foreign owners.
No.
But I think a guy like Jim Ratcliffe would understand the game. He's been watching it for the last 40 years, whereas somebody coming in from Dubai might not know the intricate little funny ways that football teams have, So we'll see what happens.
with American owners, I mean, we'll get to big up Moondog for the super chat. Thank you so much. Look, I don't know, I don't think Philip agrees with you, but I think I can see it's being sold. And Wayne Bonner as well. Big up Wayne with the €2 super chat. Thank you so much. The right offer comes along, Enoch will sell. I
Yeah,
mean, that's the
that's
other
pretty
thing,
much
Philip.
it.
That's the other thing. If somebody was to come on to Joe Lewis, as I said, he's 80 odd. He
Hmm.
doesn't need the hassle. And
No.
I'm sure Daniel Levy doesn't need the hassle either of all the
Mm,
abuse he gets. Either that, he's got very thick skin.
yeah,
If somebody
I
said
think.
to them, "Here's 3.8 billion," I'm sure they're not going to haggle over a couple of billion. Do you? Or
I do, yeah. I think they've haggle over a couple of million, never mind a couple of billion. I think the way Joe Lewis is supposed to set it up, that he's given the control of his shares to his accountant or his lawyer or
Mm,
something over there in the Bahamas, with his daughter to take over in due course, right? Now, either that's one of two things: either Joe Lewis is not well, which we haven't been heard about, or
no.
but it sounds to me as if nothing's going to happen there until he dies. Now, Joe Lewis is a multi-millionaire, billionaire,
Mm,
probably. Now, how he made his money was quite murky. I think that'd be the best way of
yeah,
putting it.
very
I think
murky.
he shorted the pound and made a fortune on it.
Yeah.
Daniel Levy was involved every nut and bolt that went into that stadium, and he's the one I
Yeah.
think is going to be harder to get rid of because he has got an
Mm,
emotional and a physical attachment to that stadium, which Joe Lewis hasn't got. That Daniel Levy was there for every single stage of that building, and that's why it's going to make it harder for him to leave and walk away from his project
mm,
that he undoubtedly did a great job on. We have to say that. So that's the problem. But then again, Lewis is the majority shareholder, so he can tell Daniel, "I'm taking the bid." But we'll have to wait and see whether that happens or not.
yeah.
But it's I think it might just tweak Daniel Levy's thinking a little bit. If the Man United bid is accepted and he sees how much money they're actually getting, he might say, "Well, hang on a bit. I can go and relax on the beach with Joe Lewis now, rather than
Yeah.
slogging it out here for me 10 million every year." You get multiples of 10 million if he decides to sell for his shareholding. So, we'll wait and see. We can but hope.
Yeah, we can, but you can see them going down the Thames, can't you, with a boatload of money? You can rarely see it.
Yeah,
big,
yeah.
big up Wayne Bonner. And we've got Toxic Headshot as well. He says, "Hey guys, big
I
up."
talk to.
Also, we've got Christopher Inshaw. Big up Christopher. Says Qatari bid in for United, 100% for the whole club, no debt.
I wonder if they're clearing all the debt.
Yeah, that's what it is, Philip. They're
Because
going
the
in.
Glazers have run up a huge debt on that club. Absolutely
They're,
huge.
I think they're looking for about. Somebody said in the chat, Andrew Big Up says Enoch want 5 billion. I think that's how much Man United will go for. Five
Yeah, well,
five and a half
if Man
billion.
United go for 5 billion, right? Man United, with all due respect to Tottenham, Man United have a
Mm,
much greater footprint worldwide than Tottenham have. Okay, I know they're buying into a stadium that probably needs about another billion spent on it
mm.
to bring it up to scratch. But I think in Man United, in my book, I don't like saying this, would be worth more than Tottenham. So if
Yeah.
Enoch think they're getting the same price as United, they're cuckoo land.
Mm,
If they 3.3 million with 750 million of debt write off or take on is reasonable enough. Now, if
mm.
they made that 3.25 million and then the other 750, bring it up to 4 billion, I think it'd be very, very hard to reject it. But we'll
Yeah, I
see.
think so. I agree with you, Philip. It is very hard to know what will happen. Look, we can only see what happens in the next few
Yeah.
weeks or coming months. But look, if Man United gets sold, I think it will set a domino effect on how the rest of the clubs are owned in the Premier League.
Mm,
And
yeah.
where we go
Yeah.
from there, look, the
But
pressure
but you
will
know what
be
also
on.
that does, Dermot? It also makes Manchester probably ring fence first and second in the league
Mm,
until such time as other clubs do the same thing.
mm,
Because who's going to compete with the money? That you can be sure if they're buying that club for 5 billion, they have another couple of billion set aside for the players.
yeah,
So that's worrying.
yeah.
That's very worrying.
We've got a few here. Danielle, big up Danielle, says, "I love Sonny, but we can't keep giving starts to players who are underperforming or worse than that. Then there is competition. Dan the man, Richarlison. What might they be thinking if they can't start?" And
Yeah.
Daniela here makes a very good point. You know, we are going to go through. I mean, might as well bring it up now, Philip, and go through the predicted starting 11. Big up Daniel
Hmm.
for the thing there. And we have got texted hot shot as well. Big up to. I will get to that in a minute, um, and later in the show, but I will start that and come back to that. This is the predicted lineup, Philip. We've got Foster in goal, Romero, Dyer, Longley, Pero, Perisic, Hoy, BSR, Kubasiski, Kane, and Son.
Hmm.
Now, it seems to be the same team every week. Now, for me, I would drop Son and bring in Dan the Man. And I would start Emerson ahead of Pero because I think Emerson's been playing well. I mean, that's the 11, Philip. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a home game. We should be on the front
Mm,
foot. Stellini more or less said it in his press conference from minute one. We
mm,
want to be at it. So for that reason, I would play Porro. I would play
yeah,
Porro, and I would also play Richarlison instead of Son.
yeah,
Richarlison did his best work for Everton coming in from the left hand side,
yeah.
and that's where Son operates. Now, Son, I mean, we love the guy to bits, we all do, but he's just not doing it at the moment. And I
No.
think, okay, he had a great game against Preston. He scored, played well against Man City, but against Leicester and AC Milan, he might as well not been on the pitch.
Mm,
So I think Richarlison must be chewing at the bit to get a go at this team. He's never scored in the
yeah.
Premiership. What a great time to be tomorrow! And you can play Kane and Richarlison in the same team.
Yeah.
It's a frightening proposition for any
Mm,
defender. Those two guys coming at you, and then Kulachevsky. Now he's a worry at the moment for me.
yeah.
Kulachevsky has not been the same player in the last month or so since he came back from the injury,
Mm,
and I would even well, maybe not start him, but Danjuma I think could come on in the second half for Kulachevsky, which would give us a
yeah.
completely fresh looking front three. Okay, I know Harry Kane's still there, but West Ham won't be expecting that.
Mm,
They'll be setting up to face the usual front three that Spurs have. And if
yeah.
we can be second guess them, do what we did against City,
Mm,
completely bamboozle them by playing Eric Dyer as kind of a third midfielder, moving forward from the centre back. They couldn't cope with that. So
no.
Stellini was very cute there. So let's hope he's got a couple of things up his sleeve now for Sunday. But
Yeah.
other than that, I think the team is as you put it. I think Papa Sarr has done enough to keep his place.
Yeah.
Obviously,
I think so.
Højbjerg's going to come back in. And the back three, well, we don't have much choice really, unless you want to bring
No.
in Tanganga or Sanchez, which doesn't really fill me with confidence.
No, I mean, Dyer doesn't fill me with confidence anyway. Look, for me, wouldn't play that formation. I would play Kane behind the front two and put Richarlison
That's another way of doing it. Yeah,
and Dan the
absolutely.
man up front. I mean, he is a striker plus a left midfield winger, so I
Yeah.
would do it that way. I would put Emerson over Pero. I think Emerson's upped his game since he's come.
Mm,
That's nothing to do with Pero's poor debut for the club. I just think that it's a London derby. Emerson's used to them. Pero isn't. Bring him in, bring him on about 70 minutes to go. Um, do it that way. Look, the back three, as you say, Philip, there's nothing we can do about the back three. Absolutely nothing we can do. Perisic on the left, I would prefer him than anybody. I think he will come good. And as you say, the midfield picks itself. But I would probably start with Skip instead of Sarr. I think Skip
mm,
preferred it's deserved his chance. And
no, I go
that's
for
my
Sarr. I go for Sarr.
yeah. Would you
You
change
know,
the formation as well, Philip?
yeah, I drop Harry. As I said, West Ham will be expecting the usual front three
Yeah.
because if we've been nothing else all season, it's been very predictable.
Mm,
So let's change that.
yeah.
They'll be set up with the centre backs expecting Kane up top. Let
Mm,
Kane drop deep, pull the centre back. They won't know where to go. They won't know where to stick or twist, and that could work very well against. That could work very well
mm,
against for us and against them. But you're saying about Skip and Sarr. I think Sarr, you can't drop Sarr after his performance against AC Milan. I think
no. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think he has to be in the team now. Okay, you could be right. He might
Mm,
play Skip, but I think Sarr deserves it. Sarr is going to be a star. I think that's the way of
yeah.
putting it. In the future. And
I agree with you, Philip. I think Skip and Sarr both grew as men on the other night.
yeah,
They went in there as young boys, if you know what I mean in football terms, but they grew into men as they came off. Because and Sarr, he is going to be a world beater when later on in his career. Look, that is my predictor. But let's see what people think in the chat, Philip. Toxic Headshot says, I think Kulu is hard for him because he's great with Doherty, but now he has to change with Pero. Um, do you agree with that? Do you think he had that relationship with Doherty, but now he's got to build it up again now with Pero?
Yeah, he had a good relationship with him, but I wouldn't say it was a great one. Because it didn't actually play together that often, really. I think the thought of those two guys down the right hand side is frightening if they can get their act together.
Yeah.
Really, I think they are going to be too good for an awful lot of fullbacks. And a home game is a good time to start it because we're going to
Yeah.
hopefully be more on the front foot. I take your point about Royale playing and all that. And I mean, he doesn't deserve to be dropped, but I think you'll find he'll be back in for the next away match. But I think I can see Porro getting a start with the fact that we cannot on Sunday. We cannot turn up on Sunday and sit back and let West Ham come at us.
Yeah.
There'll be a mutiny if that happens. We've got to come out and go at them. They're not a great team. Their record this season is not great. They've had a couple of good results, but they're fragile at the back, and we should take advantage of that. And the best form of defense is attack, in my way. And let's just do it. It's time we wipe the floor with somebody this season.
Yeah,
and wouldn't it be great if it was West Ham? It would be even more pleasurable if it was West Ham.
It would be. And then they can all go home with their bubbles in their pocket and Barney the dinosaur with them. But anyway, Toxic Headshot, I hope that answers your question. We've got a super chat in here for Wayne Bonner. Thank you, Wayne, for the super chat. It really does help. And we're so grateful. He says, I'll start Sarr with Højbjerg every time. Fire, fire, fire. Yeah, I think I have to agree with you. You have both convinced me of my ways. I strayed off the path and you brought me straight back. Right. Well, we'll go through a bit more team news, Philip. Tottenham, Højbjerg and Romero are both available after respective Champions League and Premier League suspensions. Spurs will be without, though, the 3-0 injured Hugo Luis, Basuma and Ryan Segi, while Bentancur is out for the season with a knee injury. West Ham midfielder Lucas Paquet, who went off with a shoulder problem against Chelsea, will not be fit. And Agubu will be assessed after suffering a groin injury in that game. So that's your team news for the game on Sunday. Philip, who drops out? Højbjerg, Skip, or Sarr? We've covered that.
I think we've kind of answered that one already. I think Sarr is the guy gets the nod there.
Now,
Yeah.
Do Spurs play with great freedom under Stellini? Now, look, we saw how they played against Man City, and then we saw the Leicester game. Do players come out if they saw Conte not well, very, very shriveled looking, not himself? Do you think that affected the players against Leicester? Maybe there was more to that Leicester defeat than meets the eye.
It could have been, yeah. I think there was also, you've got to take into consideration the Leicester game was 3 days before the AC Milan game. I think players should be a little bit. They're probably not subconsciously. They're worried about getting injured and missing that big match, and that can affect your performance. You're not just giving it 100%. Maybe Conte's illness had something to do with it. Maybe it had. Maybe it's the way he set the team out, because he did make mistakes in the team selection.
Yeah.
He should not have played Porro. He should have played Emerson in that game. I totally agree with you there. We just didn't seem to make the changes quick enough to try and get things back. And making stupid mistakes at the back didn't help either, because that really is what killed us against Leicester. It wasn't that Leicester was so good; it was because we were so bad. And that has been the way in so many games we've lost this season. We've handed games to teams by silly, stupid mistakes, and that's got to be cut out. You cannot get any. You can't get top four or win a cup or go anywhere if you gift opposition goals on a regular basis, which is what we've been doing this season. So I think we've got to take it that Leicester was in the past, gone, forget about it. AC Milan was a little bit different. I mean, AC Milan, a Champions League game, the form goes out the window, really. Yeah,
it does.
AC Milan haven't been in good form. They got a good win the Friday before our game against Torino. And they played okay against us, but they're not a great team. And I mean, Spurs on their day would have won that game comfortably. So we're going to have to make sure that we're on our game on the 8th of March They better be doing it because half the country here is going over to them. There's
Yeah.
going to be no one left here in Ireland. Last one out, switch off the lights on the
Yeah.
Spurs side of things, anyway. And we do not want to be walking down the high road at 10 o'clock on that Wednesday night with heads hanging low. We want to be singing.
Yeah.
And, I hope that's going to be the way. I'm feeling it will be.
I think it will be. I look. I tell you one thing. I think it's about 100 of us going over from Ireland alone, from all the different supporter group. God knows how many's going in our supporters group because they have Spurs supporters group. I don't know how many of us are going over.
I think it's 19.
Yeah,
19. Yeah,
I
be
think.
great.
I think also Ollie's getting a flag done for us as well. I think.
Is he? Oh, great stuff.
Yeah.
I'll have to
So
get a team
really
photograph taken of that.
Yeah. Texted Hodgshot Ed Big Up. He says we need to attack teams like Leicester and West Ham and finish them. Then the mistakes will stop. It's pressure.
Yeah.
It is. It's. What do you put that down to, Philip? What do you put that?
Well, put it down. If you find the guys that are making the mistakes, right, are generally they're not 100% because what do you call them? Longley made a mistake against City in the first game. The mistakes have been made by the likes of Eric Dyer, Ben Davis, Davinson Sanchez, and Hugo Lloris. And what's the common denominator of all those players? They've been at the club far too long. They're in the comfort zone. They know they're getting them picking up their money every week. They know nothing's going to happen to them until the summer. Their concentration levels are crap, basically.
Yeah.
And for every good game Eric Dyer has, he has 3 bad ones, and that can't continue. We need to go on. As I'm saying, Stellini's press conference hinted at tomorrow is going to be Sunday's going to be different. I think we're going to see Spurs go out the blocks very quickly at West Ham. And that's what we want. Unsettle them, get them rattled, get an early goal. Spurs score in the first 10 minutes against West Ham, and we will wipe them. We will.
Yeah.
But if we sit back and let them come at us and they get the goal, then we're not great at pulling back. We're good in the second half of pulling back things. Yeah. But this is their cup final. We cannot give them anything to be cheerful about.
No. Has Spurs says here, I'm worried about Sunday, not going to don't worry about it. We're going to turn up. We're going to wipe the floor with them, and we're going to bounce into the next few games. We're going to do it for Conte. Philip, now, the head-to-head. Now, I found a few stats for you. Let me take that off stats off now. Tottenham have lost just 2 of their last 10 Premier League games against West Ham, 5 wins, 3 draws. However, they've only kept 1 clean sheet in those 10 matches. Does that stat surprise you? And also, it's not since 84-85 have both league fixtures between these teams in the season ended in a draw because we drew 1-1 with them early in the season. That's right. Does that stat surprise you? We've only kept 1 clean sheet in those 10 matches.
Well, not keeping a clean sheet doesn't surprise me because it doesn't have. Excuse me. Okay, we got maybe 3 in a row there against Preston, City, and who's the other one we got 3 in a row against? Was it 2 in a row?
Yeah.
Preston, Fulham, Preston, and City. Not really. I mean, London derbies are fierce. I mean, there will be a lot of tackles flying in there. There'll be a lot of passion. I mean, the goal thing it surprises me a little bit. I don't think West Ham are that good, to be honest.
No.
But I'm not knocking Spurs defensively. Probably haven't been great against them, but we need to keep a clean sheet on Sunday. We don't want to give them any encouragement at all. I still have nightmares about the one 3 or 4 years ago when we were 3-1 up with 3-0 up with 5 minutes to go and they got a draw on us. That was the most. That was the craziest game of it, and it all started by a mistake from guess who? Davinson Sanchez.
Yeah.
So
was that during the pandemic?
It might have been. It was just before or just around that time. Yeah, I think it was. But just keep the mistakes. Don't make mistakes, and we win the match. That's probably the best message I can say about it.
It is. And a few more stats here, Philip. Tottenham's Premier League record in 22-23 is exactly the same at this stage last season. 12 wins, 3 draws, 8 defeats.
Okay, that's all right.
So that's one stat. Then I've got a few more. Spurs could equal the club league record of 22 consecutive home games without a draw set in 1928 and 1987.
Okay.
They're in danger of losing consecutive Premier League home London derbies for the first time since 2004.
That cannot happen. That cannot
No,
happen.
that can't happen. This stat now surprises me, and I was shocked when I found it earlier. Only relegation threatened Bournemouth and Southampton have conceded more first half goals than the 18 Spurs have let in. I mean, that
It
is,
doesn't surprise me at all. It doesn't
but
surprise me though, because we've been crap in the first half of a lot of
yeah,
games.
but
You know?
it does show how bad defensively Dyer, Sanchez, all of them are. We keep making
Yeah,
mistakes.
yeah,
Tottenham have scored 11 top flight goals from corners this season, more than any other side.
yeah,
Shows we're good in the
yeah.
air. And this is the last one. Harry Kane's last 11 goals in all competitions have all come in London.
Oh, interesting. Well, let's hope he makes it 12 or 13 on this
Yeah.
Sunday and keeps that run going. But the thing about the 11 goals from corners, we,
Mm.
until they brought in the specialist, we were used to scoring from set
Yeah,
pieces. And now we've turned into the best in the league. So it just shows you we got something right there. So
it
we did.
does. We've got Terry Wright. Big up Terry. It says, I like to see a backline of Royal, Romero, and Longley for a couple of games. Put Dyer on the bench where he belongs.
Mm,
I wouldn't be against
yeah.
that. I really wouldn't be against that, Philip. Um,
Mm,
I really
I think
wouldn't.
that Royal has only just learned how to be a fullback, and we're now going to try and teach
Mm,
him how to be a centre back. That's a bit worry I have there. It's a
yeah,
learning curve going changing positions like that, so it might be risky. Like, I'm not saying
yeah,
it's not a bad idea, but it might be a risky idea.
yeah.
Given
Um,
his propensity for making mistakes.
yeah. Would you drop? Right, we're now going to go into a new section of the show. It's called. This is all new now, so I made this up very quickly today. This is Stellini's press conference, and I've watched it. I've gone through it and everything. So what we're going to do, Philip, we'll talk about. We won't go through everyone, but we'll talk about the important ones. And the first
Uh-huh.
one is I'll take off the thing at the top there so people can see the questions. And it says, "How is Conte? Will he have a proper rest this time?" And I give you more authority. Now, I read this for you in the background, but I'll read it again. I'd love to know what people's thoughts on this because it sort of gives me a bit of confidence that Conte is still passionate about Tottenham Hotspur. I know I said on Dave's channel earlier that if he is to go now. Give us something to hang our to hang our cap on. But it says, I have the same authority before he came back. But since the moment he came back after 2 days, Antonio's feeling was that maybe he underestimated the procedure after the surgery. Coming close to the Leicester game, the stress, the tension he lives normally before the game created some problems. When they checked with the doctor with the club, they spoke for a long time about this, and the decision was this: he needs to take it easy again. He will come back soon, but not like he hoped. What do you read
Mm.
into that, Philip? I mean, do you think he did come back too soon?
No, he probably did. I mean, I know gallbladder surgery isn't one that you can recover from
Mm,
fairly quickly, but we don't know. There may have been complications. There may have been other things they dealt with,
mm,
and he probably jumped on the plane too quickly, and which in a
yeah.
way gives me hope. Gives me, fair dues to the fella. He didn't want to be out staying out of work too long, But
Mm,
the bottom line there is, he says he will come back soon, but not like he hoped. Um, I have a feeling he'll want to be back for the Chelsea game.
I
This is
say
only
so.
a week away because he'll want
Yeah.
to put one over on Chelsea. If he doesn't come back for the Chelsea game, then I don't see him coming back until the AC Milan.
No.
I don't see him. No bother coming back for the FA Cup match. But
No.
is he going to come back? Is he going to stay? That's the biggest question, and it's hard to read anything into that. There's nothing in that statement that would give me a clue either way if he's staying or
No.
going in the summer. You know.
Well, he's also he said he had a tough time this year. This was the question asked for him. He's had a tough time this year. Is there a feeling he might get an extended period away or will he want to come back? And this is what Stellini said. He said, also yesterday, we have a call every day, many times in the day, probably 3 times per day. Every time he wants to come back, he repeats every day, I want to come back, Christian. I'm sorry, but how was training tomorrow? We'll have to organize something particular. We have to organize the team. What do you feel? What do you think? But he wants to come back. That is every time in his sentence.
Mm,
That gives me the confidence he wants to stick around. He cares about Tottenham.
mm,
He wants to give
mm.
his all. That
Well,
doesn't sound like a manager to me that wants to walk away at the end of the season.
No, but he could also be a manager that wants to tidy things up and have Spurs looking as good as they possibly can when he does walk away. Either you can take it both ways.
Mm,
He's not sort of throwing his hands up in the air and affect this lot. I'm not bothered coming back.
mm,
He's got pride in his job. He's pride in how good he is at doing things, and he'll want to come back. Looking at our record, we're exactly the same as we were this time last season. And
yeah.
look what we did then. We went and got top four. So
Mm,
that's will be his aim. If he's going to leave for whatever reason, and he leaves Tottenham in top four, he'll go with everybody's blessing, right?
yeah.
But if we finish 6 or 7 and he leaves, then there's going to be a sour taste. So
Yeah.
that's why he wants to come back and get everything right before he makes his decision, maybe, or maybe it's already made. We do not know. We do not know.
If he gets top 4 in the trophy, Philip,
If
he'll
he
be
gets top four,
forever.
he'll probably stay.
Yeah.
He'll probably stay. But
Mm,
it's if he doesn't, if we finish mid-table mediocrity with no trophies, then I can't see him sticking around.
no. Then he was asked, facing West Ham, how tough a game will this be? He says, against West Ham, it is it's very, every time a tough game because it's a derby, and then they are a good team. No, they're not. They
Well, that's
have,
giving them more credit than they're due anyway.
do, yeah, they have skill in some situations. They have no skill. In some situations,
They have a couple of good players, all right. They have a couple of good players,
what
but
one
nothing.
turncoat, one person that's
Ben
absolutely arch enemy number one in my eyes. He should
Declan
not be.
Rice,
Yeah, he
yeah.
should
Ben
not be
Rama's a good
named.
player as well. Ben Rama's a
Yeah,
good
he
player.
is, to be fair.
And that Suche fella,
Mm,
Thomas, what do you call him? Thomas Tusek,
two sec, yeah.
Suchek. Yeah, he's good. Yeah,
They never concede set pieces. They are a team strong at set
that'll
pieces.
change on Sunday. That'll change on
Yeah,
Sunday.
and strong in counter attack. They are a team strong because last season was a great season and they didn't change many players. We have to be careful because they are a good team and it's a derby. That creates a good feeling for us, but also a good feeling for them. So it is an important game, and we have to respect. Is it the thing, Philip? You have to show them respect, but not too much respect.
Yeah, I said don't over respect them. I mean, these press conferences really. They're saying one thing, and they're in their mind's eye. They're thinking, "Christ, do I have to talk this crap about West Ham?" You know,
Yeah.
they have to show respect because
Mm.
I've never seen a press conference from some guy comes out. We're playing a crap team on Sunday, and we're going to hammer them 6-0. Which is probably what they'd like to say, but they
Mm.
can't.
No.
And this is the bit. This is the bit that I find interesting for Sunday.
Yeah. What type of reaction are you expecting from the players of his ass? And he said, and I love this, he says, I want to see the reaction from the start. The first minute will be very important for us because we have to show the desire to play the best game we can.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
that should come naturally to these players, Philip. That should just be, that should come natural. He should be having to say that in a press conference. The players
yeah.
should know that themselves. So, do you expect the players like Harry Kane, even Hugo, do you know, somebody taking up the mantle of leading this team? Who do you expect, like Hoybier, Romero, Harry Kane? Do you expect them to take the team by the scruff of the neck and say, "Look, we've got to do it for Conte. We've got to do it for the fans. Come on, let's get at them,"
I
sort
hope
of thing.
so. What I want to see is Spurs take the kick off, right?
Mm,
And instead of passing it back and tipping it around between the centre backs for 5 minutes, get the ball up to Kulachevsky or
yeah.
Son or whoever's out on the left wing and get at them from the very first minute.
Mm,
Don't let them settle. Because that's the problem with Spurs, that we let teams settle too quickly against us.
mm,
That's why we go behind so many times in the first
yeah.
half.
Um,
It's only the second half that we actually start playing.
yeah. I just want to say, big up Wayne Bonner. He's gifted a THFC tie membership to Tequila 316. Big up Tequila and
Good
big up
man,
Wayne
Wayne. That's
Bonner.
very good. Well done,
You're
lads.
very kind, Wayne, and thank you so much. And I have got a poll running in the chat. It's been going for 40 minutes now, and I have asked the people in there, should some be dropped for the game on Sunday? This is going to surprise you, Philip. 82% say yes, 18% say no.
Well, 82% say drop him.
Yeah, drop him for Sunday.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, look what happened when they dropped him against Leicester.
Mm,
He came on and scored a hat trick in 13 minutes.
yeah,
Son will be stung if he gets dropped, but maybe he
yeah.
needs that, and make him a bit more hungry.
Mm.
If we need him, bring him on again in the second half and let him do the business.
I mean, we
And
had that against Leicester, didn't he? Came
yeah, he
on
did. He did.
after 60 minutes, and what happened? Scored a hat trick.
Well, mind you,
Um,
that substitution, or what he was great, it was also the way he switched Basuma in the midfield, which also opened up that Leicester defence. They couldn't cope with him. So there was
no,
a number of things happened there to give Son the hat trick. Okay, the
yeah.
finishing was brilliant, but
Yeah. Big up though. Big up. Let me get that right. Big up Wayne Bonner and Tequila saying thank you so much at Wayne Bonner. Big up Wayne Bonner. Very kind things to do. And look, it gives somebody membership. We are starting the members fan show after every game or the day after. We're looking to get, I think, to 15 members, and then we're going to do it as member only. So please, it does help. And Wayne Bonnet, you're very kind and you're a great supporter of this channel. We've just got Delina Zitos, and if you can't afford um, a super chat or even a membership, we'll always bring your comment up, and I will read them out. I'll bring them up, put my thumbs up, or read them out like this one. I know times are tough out there, so we would always have you included as well. Problem is, you can answer this, Philip. The problem is, once we score our first goal or to go 1-0 up, we sit back and defend. We need to go at the opposition and put the opposition to bed if that type of game requires it. Do we play too much like an Italian side, Philip, where it's going against our DNA of how we do play in the past?
yeah, this is where I think Conte's tactics are maybe grating a little bit with the players, and they're not quite tuning into them. Yeah, I take that Daniela's point there that we score a goal, then we do sit back, whereas Tottenham teams in the past would have gone for number 2 and number 3.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we want to see. Because if you score 1-0 up and suddenly you decide to pull everyone back 10 yards, the opposition gets strength from that. And that's why I think we've been playing so badly in the first half of a lot of games.
Yeah.
You know, we've conceded ground, we've conceded a goal, and we go in at half time, and then, you know, Conte rejigs things, and we come back and we generally win the match. Which leads me, I've said it often enough, why doesn't he give the half-time team talk before the team goes out for the start of the match? If you get what I'm coming from, you know.
Yeah, I do. I actually do.
They should be playing that way the whole time, you know. So it's a frustrating one. I know, Dermot, you're not a great fan of Pochettino coming back, right? I respect that. But if you look back to the last season, we were at White Hart Lane, right? 17 wins and 2 draws in 19 league games. That is the Tottenham way. That is what we want. We wanted this new ground to be a fortress. Well, it's anything but at the moment because we've lost how many 4 or 5 league games at home already.
I've got nothing against him coming back, but the problem is, if he's going to come back, is he going to be backed? And the answer to that is no.
Oh yeah, so I know that's a side issue, but I'm just saying, like, well, the type of football that he played, leave the backing issue to one side for now. The type of football that Poch played suits the Spurs fans, suits our DNA completely.
It does,
and that's what I think we want. We got whoever, be it Thomas Frank, be it her Flick, or whatever you call them from Hello. Any of those that come back in, as long as they can bring attacking football back to Tottenham, that's what we want. You know, because you've seen games, Dermot, this season where the groans have gone up from the fans when the ball's been going backwards all the time. They're not used to that type of football. We're not used to it, and like we're not 1-0 to the Arsenal type football. Remember that boring stuff that Arsenal played when they won the title. It won them the title, so it can't be that bad. But no, we want attacking flair, attacking football. We've got the players for it, so why not do it?
We just got to unlock the key. Well, he was then asked back in the press conference, back to Conte, how long has he been advised to stay away for? And he says health, he more or less said what the club said. He said health is more important than football, and this is the reason why the club, Antonio, and the doctors decided to take this responsibility and leave Antonio in Italy after the last game. We don't know the time he needs to rest. The doctors thinks about the timing, and they have an ideal, but it's really a feeling from Antonio. He's explained very well that the surgery was not an easy surgery. It was a surgery with emergency. The inflammation was big, and maybe they underestimated this situation. He needs time to be 100%, and Antonio is not 100%. Is not Antonio. That creates stress, overstress, and this is a dangerous after a surgery like that. Philip, what do you read into that?
Yeah, I read that the most pertinent 6 words in that thing are, it was a surgery with emergency. So it looked to me as if that he was in bad shape when they took him in.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then there's no way he should have come back.
No.
Like, emergency surgery is so much different than routine surgery.
Yeah.
You don't get operated on the unless it's a severe problem, and that severe problems take longer to fix and repair than run of the mill ones. So I think I'll take that as the fair dues to his commitment that he wanted to
Mm.
come back. But
Yeah.
I'm sure it was probably against doctor's orders. But now he's learned his lesson this time. He
Yeah.
have to wait now until he's actually right to travel.
I think so. Now we're going on to the Son thing. He said Son has been struggling for form. Would you leave a big player like that out? Now this is what he said. Now, Philip, I'm very interested. Do you want to read it out actually, Philip? Go on,
Yeah, I'll
you
read that.
yeah, go.
Yeah. Every time when you pick the team, you have to leave someone on the bench, and normally it is not important. The player you have to maybe leave on the bench. It is about the team that has to play. It is important also that some important players stay on the bench. Their effort when they come in. This is for their effort when they come in. This is very important. We have experience with Sonny, we have experience with Richarlison, we have experience with Decky from the bench. They changed the game. This is normal, and it is normal for everyone. Not because you have an important player, he has to play compulsory. If he needs to play sometimes, also he needs to rest because we have a tough fixture list. We have a tough moment, and we play many times. Sometimes you have to change the player, and those others perform better. He hasn't. He's got nowhere near to answering the question,
No,
as far as I
but
can see.
does that seem like to you that he will be dropped, Philip? That he will be put to the bench and he might do something different for West Ham?
It leads me to believe that Stellini is open to changing things,
Yeah.
right? But it also read between the lines there. I don't think he's decided whether he's going to do it or not.
No.
Like he's saying, players can come from the bench and change the game. Well, we know Son has done it.
Yeah.
Kulichevsky, maybe not someone this season, but Richarlison probably hasn't come and changed the game from the
No.
bench, in my opinion, right? But he needs to get the chance to start 90 minutes to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. If reading on that, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Sonny started on Sunday because
Yeah.
there's nothing in there that says he's going to drop him.
No. It really doesn't. Look, for me, I think I see something a bit different. I think he is open to the idea of putting Sonny in the bench and starting either Dan the man there on the left side and try something different. Look, Sonny is a great player. He's a wonderful player. He's a player that we love at Spurs, but he hasn't been in the greatest form this season for more than with the eye injury, with the World Cup coming up, maybe personal problems as well outside of football. He hasn't been the same Sonny. So maybe just dropping him, giving him a rest and let him get his fire back. I think that's the problem. But look, it's
Then
up to him.
I don't think he's going to drop him for Dan the man. If
No.
Son goes, it has to be Richarlison coming in.
Yeah.
Really, it has to be. If it's not,
Yeah.
Richarlison will not be with us next season. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, that's something I want to talk to you about later. Wayne Bonner, big up the super chat. You're very kind tonight. You really have been so kind. It says, I'll drop some for a few games and give others a chance. I think you and
that's
Philip are on the same wavelength there. Then it goes, they're on about the midfielders now. After their excellent performance in the San Siro, is it a difficult decision over which of Papa Star and Oliver Skip has to be dropped to bring in Højbjerg back in? And he said, we will take this decision thinking about the game. The details of the game will be so important. So the decision we'll take is about the game and the characteristics of their opponents and what we need from our players and the type of game we expected to play. Philip, do you think there could be an outside chance that he could start Skip and Sarr and put Højbjerg on the bench, as
not a
well as
hope.
they played the other night?
Not a hope in hell. No
I'm
chance.
just putting it out there. I know I'm being
Yeah, I know
deluded.
that. Yeah, I know that. Højbjerg has to come back in.
Yeah, we're
Højbjerg
both
has to
agree
come
on
back
that.
in. Yeah, has to. I don't think so. No, I mean I know the lads did very well, but excuse me. No, I think let's face it. If Højbjerg hadn't have been suspended, he would have been playing on Tuesday night in Italy, no problem, and we probably wouldn't be having this conversation at all.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a quids in that Højbjerg starts. It's the toss up whether Sarr or Skip starts alongside, and one of them will. And I think we've decided it probably will be Papa Sarr, given the like when you think about it. Sarr's only 20 years of age, but he's played in the World Cup and played very well in that World Cup. He's got experience beyond his years.
Yeah.
Oliver Skip is a very good player, but lost a bit of pace and lost a bit of confidence with that injury that he had last season.
Mm.
So I think while they both did very well against AC Milan, um, one of them is going to be disappointed on Sunday, and I
Yeah.
think it's going to be Oliver Skip.
Yeah. I probably would have to agree with you, but I would love to see them both get another go again together. I really would.
You
But
might do in the cup game. You might get them
yeah,
together in the cup game against Sheffield United.
mm,
Maybe, but
maybe.
we'll see.
Maybe
Maybe.
I've been. I did watch his press conference earlier as well, Philip, and I did enjoy his press conference. He's very much very good in these answers. And then he says there's a growing affection from the Spurs fans towards you, Bonstellini, especially as you're winning games in charge. Is that a strange feeling for you to be in the spotlight and getting the affection? And he responded with, it's a bit strange for me because normally the assistant coach works behind the spotlight. Not many people know very well the assistant. This is a strange thing for me. I repeat that I'm not alone though. There are many people who work with me. They pushed the team to work very well with everyone to another level. Ryan Mason was important every time and will be important this weekend. He is important for me, the team, and all the staff. Costarino and Stefano and Monaco Surveyor for the keepers, we work together. What we are learning now is that when there is Antonio takes responsibility. He has a great character and takes many times the responsibility. He asks the assistants, "What do you think? What do you think?" But the responsibility is on him. Now we have to take decisions together and work more like a team instead of when Antonio is here. Sometimes it's Antonio that will take responsibility and the decisions, and sometimes also without explaining to us why.
Mm,
What do you read into that, Philip? Do you read in that Antonio, it's my way or the highway,
Stubborn. Yeah, yeah,
stubborn. And without him
stubborn.
there, we does that show why we played so well also against Man City and why we were
Mm.
so bad against Leicester?
I think so. I think so. I think for all his for all his positiveness or all
Mm,
his good points, Conte, through his stubbornness and refusal to bend his
mm,
systems a little bit, has cost us. So that's why I think Stellini is a little bit more flexible, and that showed against Man City. I mean,
yeah,
what other game? I know I mentioned this before, but what other game this season have you seen Eric Dyer coming into the midfield?
none.
That was, I swear, that was a Stellini masterstroke who done
Yeah,
that. Because if Conte thought of that one, why hasn't he done it in other games? You
yeah,
know.
exactly.
So that's why I think. That's why I'm expecting a lot more freedom and a lot more
Mm,
expressiveness from the team on Sunday because it's Stellini's team. And you know what? I would love the crowd to sing his name
yeah,
to appreciate what he's done in the games that he's been in charge.
mm,
Look at the Marseille game back in November. There, we were down and out at half time.
yeah,
We were gone. And whatever he said to that team in the second half, tweaked the formation, and we ended up scoring 2 goals in the second half. And that's why we topped the group.
yeah,
That's why we got a home draw, and that's why we're going to on the 8th of March, and we weren't there this week. You get my point, you
yeah,
know. So I think like it can always be if the players are a bit hesitant or a little bit unwilling to take on what Conte's saying,
mm,
they must be delighted. I'll tell you what it's like, Dermot. It's like going to school one day, right? And you're the math teacher who you all fear isn't in for the day, and there's a substitute. You think, great,
yeah,
and probably you probably perform far better. Do you know where I'm coming
yeah,
from?
yeah. I do.
It could be a
I
little bit of a
actually do.
fear factor there.
Mm,
So, but that's why I expect the performance to be mega times more than the Leicester performance, which is an
mm,
absolute disaster, to be honest with you. You know, and like we need to get this 3 points because we've got Chelsea coming up the following week.
yeah,
And
we
if we
do.
think West Ham are going to be tough, Chelsea will be tough. And I know they're not playing that well at the minute,
Yeah.
but they've got the players to hurt us. And that's
Mm,
why we need the 3 points in the bag.
yeah. Daniel Zito, I have started this as do you know guys what game Basuma will return? Well,
Ooh.
here's your answer. There are big expectations for Basuma. Now he's injured. How is he taking it all? We have to wait with Bazuma. It's a stress factor that came from overload, so he needs time. We are so sad for Biss. because now without Rijago, he could have been an important player. But in football, this happens. We were happy about Bazuma's effort and what he did in the pitch. We know very well from the start of the season that a player like Basuma would need time to understand our idea and what we want on the pitch. To understand being at a different club, a different level in the Champions League, it's not the same. We needed the time. He took his time, and we're happy with Biss. Now we're sad because we have no Biss with us, but we have to accept this.
Yeah.
So I think he's out for stress
6
fracture.
weeks, I think.
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
So he'd be back.
So we're probably back in the middle of April. Back in the middle of March,
April.
probably.
Yeah.
No, March.
Yeah.
March. Middle of March.
And then they're on about as you have less fit midfielders and defenders, but plenty of attackers. Are you considering changing the formation from the 3-4-3 to fit players you have available? And he says, if you're thinking to change the formation, I don't know. If you're thinking to change to a back four, we only have two or three fullbacks. Nothing changed. This is our shape. It's not about the strikers you have. It's not about the strikers you have. We have the same fullbacks and the same wing-backs. We have to adapt at the moment. And probably in the future, some players will have to play in positions they're not usually used in. And we will do this, accept this, and we will work with the players to be their best. Is that being a bit stubborn, Philip? That they could change the formation. They could change it to suit the attackers, but they won't change it. Now, does that come from Antonio? Does that come from where does that come from?
It comes from a man who knows the boss is watching his press conference, and he's not going to say out loud he's going to change the boss's system. But that's not to say he won't do it on the day of the match. He's not going to admit it now because he'll be getting a phone call from Antonio Conte. What the hell are you doing, lads? This is my team you're messing around with, you know. So yeah, it was a typical politician's answer. He didn't answer the question.
Yeah. I don't know if we read out the super chat. I think we have. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, I think we did. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure there. And then the last question then on the press conference this is about Richarlison. Is Richarlison itching to get into the team, and are you trying to find a way to fit him into the team? Do you want to read this one out, Philip? Go on.
Yeah. Yes, this is our expectation from Richie. We were very unlucky with him because in the World Cup we've missed Richie now for a long time. We missed Richie in the best moment we had him at the start of the season. He was a player who changed our game. He changed the pace of the game during the game, and when he started, he scored 2 goals in the Champions League, and that was important. We've lost him sometimes, and we have to accept it and work with him. I can't read the rest because hang on. There's a sorry, Dermot. There was a thing in the way of the. Can you put it up again there?
Yeah, sorry.
Accept it, and we have to work with him. There's a slide coming up over. I can't read it.
Yeah, sorry.
Now I think it could be good. I can't really read that last sentence.
No, okay.
That again doesn't say a lot.
No.
You know?
He said he scored 2 goals in Champions League, and that was important. We lost him sometimes. We have to accept it, and we have to work to bring him back. Bring him back at the top. And his performances now, I think, could be good.
Right, okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a great chance to play him on Sunday, really. You know, I would play him on Sunday.
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen him. Like, I think all he needs is a goal in the Premiership.
Yeah.
To set him off.
Yeah.
You know, I know he got the 2 goals against Marseille in the Champions League, but 2 goals for a player like him. He scored the best goal in the World Cup. And was Brazil one of probably Brazil's best player in the World Cup?
Yeah.
To not even to get a game for Tottenham, it doesn't really add up, does it?
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't, Philip. And look, I'm a big Richarlison fan, but I don't think we're neutralising him the best way. Big up to Super Tottenham. It's his evening, guys.
He needs to come in from the right, left-hand side. That's his strength.
He does. Now, Philip, you said this. West Ham in records and London derbies this season is not good. Played 7, won 1, drawn 2, lost 4. Will Spurs add to their pain on Sunday? Is this a big opportunity for Tottenham on Sunday to really put one over their East London rivals?
Yeah, it is, and put them in their place. You know.
Yeah.
Remember, was it last season or maybe this season? West Ham were ahead of us in the league for a short length of time. And you'd swear they'd won the Champions League, the World Cup, the Cricket World Cup, the Rugby World Cup, everything together. You know,
Yeah.
they were so excited. They're a bit like the Arsenal fans when they were top of the league, and we all know how that didn't end too well. Not
Oh
rubbing it
dear.
in or anything, you know. But
Yeah.
we all knew that was going to happen to Arsenal anyway. But anyway, no, this is a great chance to put West Ham. And if it pushes them near the relegation zone, all the better.
Yeah.
All the better. A season in the Championship mightn't do them any harm. You know, then they'll be able to have 20,000 people in that big stadium of theirs, you know, where the back of the stand is in a different time zone from the halfway line. You know?
I forgot to bring my binoculars with me tonight. Do you know?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. I mean, when
I'm
the goal
sure.
goes in, the halftime whistle blows before the people at the back of the stand know that the goal's been scored. You know,
I'm sure Mr. Harris will have his would have his West Ham United tactical gear, binoculars, bobbles.
Binoculars and a rucksack and a
and,
emergency
pins,
rations.
and pins to burst their bubbles. Honest to God.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
Super Tottenham's also put here, Philip. Richarlison needs to start ahead of Son. Son has been in poor form, and Richie needs to be given a chance. I'm sure he hasn't come to Spurs to sit on the bench every game. Everyone deserves a chance.
The highlights what we've said. That's
Yeah.
exactly what we've been saying. Yeah. Totally agree with you. Totally agree.
Philip. Yeah. Look, Philip. I'll tell you what. I found the West Ham game. It's only about half an hour long, so we're going to stick it on. It's from 83-84 season.
And I might not be able to stay for all of it now. To be honest, I'm sorry about that, but I just have an issue here in the house at the moment. So,
okay, all right. Well,
I mean, certainly show it. Show it.
Yeah.
But as I said, I'm on a curfew here tonight, so I have to watch.
Well, very very quickly, we'll go through now. This is Tottenham's and West Ham's all-time record. We've played them 161 times, 69 we've won, 39 we've drawn, we've lost 53, we've scored 264 times, and we've conceded 219 goals. And I know I will get better putting these records on so people can see them more properly. But this is the one. The first time playing West Ham United, we played them the first time in 27th of October, 1900 in the Southern League. And we've got a good start record against them. 1 draw, 3 wins. But our last two in 1901 and 1902, we lost 3-1 and 2-1.
Sure.
But West Ham were not always West Ham. West Ham actually started as the team's ironworks. And
that's what they're known as, the Irons.
Yeah. And my first game against them was on the 3rd of September, 1898 in the Thames Med League, 4,000 at home and won 3-0. So that's sort of thing when we've started, Philip. Were you at any of them games? Do you know?
No. I heard you couldn't make it that day.
No, I couldn't make it. No, I couldn't make it that day. Well, listen, I think we're ended up there. We've got a big game coming up on Sunday, Philip. We will be doing the watch along for it. Yeah. I will be back tomorrow with the Golden Game, West Ham Tottenham Golden Game, sometime in the afternoon. So I will put that on for us, and then we're back on Sunday with the watch along, Philip. And then we're
at 4:15, 20:04, thereabouts.
4:04, and then we're back. Then might be back Sunday evening with a fan zone show. If not, we're back then Monday with a post-match show. Thank you so much for everyone watching. Really hope you enjoyed it. 24 people have liked it, Philip. It's unreal. It really is. And many people have
hit the like button, lads.
Yeah, do. Yeah. The end of the poll, Philip, is should somebody drop for the game on Sunday? 84% say yes, 15% say no. So
nice.
It really
That's pretty
is
conclusive, isn't it?
It is. And what's your score prediction for Sunday?
I'm going to go crazy on this one and say 3-0 to Spurs. With Richarlison getting one of them.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to be the same. I'm going to go. Super Tottenham's going for 2-1. I'm going for 3-0 like Mr. Brady. Daniela Zito's coming. Come on, you Spurs. Come on. Andrew Gregory saying, cheers, guys. Smash your likes. Smash a like. Thank you so much. You're very, very kind, all of you. I also want to thank Wayne Bonner for gifting his super chat, gifting the membership, and also for the sub. Oh, there's one question I forgot and Moondog as well for the super chat, and also for Wayne Bonner gifting the membership to Tequila 316 as well. Philip, just one thing from Toxic Headshot before we go. It says the ownership will free up cash. They need to pay off the debt and buy the estates. One thing we have is estates and surrounding it's more attractive for potential buyers. People seem to forget that.
This has gone back to the planning permission that was granted for the stadium, and in that planning permission was that Tottenham at some stage have to build a hotel and plus regenerate the area by they've been buying up a lot of property to redevelop it. So that would be providing, and that's what could be pushing the price up.
Yeah,
you're really buying two things here. You're buying the stadium, you're taking over 750 million of debt on the stadium, but you're also taking on the possibility of making a lot of money by building a hotel and social housing. So it would be. I mean, whereas Old Trafford, whoever buys Manchester United has got a big job on their hands to bring that stadium into the 21st century, because it's not falling apart, but it's showing its age big time. Whereas our stadium is ring fenced against anything for the next 10 years at least. So that's a very good point from Toxic Headshot. It might be an attraction for someone that you're not only buying the ground, you're buying an entertainment venue as well. Remember, with all the focus for concerts and stuff, which the other teams don't have. You've got the NFL contract for the next 10 years, so there's ready-made money coming there. So it's a very attractive proposition. All it needs is a certain two gentlemen to say yes.
Would that very quickly, Philip? Just one question before we do go. Does that make it more attractive to US owners than it would do to English owners?
Well, I mean, again, there's US owners and there's English owners that like property. I can see the value of property in London, and I don't think so. I think it could be equally attractive. If anything, maybe the Americans are more savvy about property prices. Because the property prices over there are as expensive as they are in London. But I personally think Jim Ratcliffe would be my chosen benefactor, if you like, if he can make a bid. If he doesn't get United, it's interesting to see what happens over the next few weeks.
That's so true. But look, keep it here. We have got a debate show next Thursday called The Sugar Years. You're fired. We're going to go over the managers, including. I thought of that name. I could not leave that last bit out on.
No, you couldn't.
But we're also going to do a So Campbell debate. Was he right to leave Spurs? Now, we've been convinced to do it live. For the good or bad of me, I don't know if that's a good decision. But Philip's looking at me thinking you're mental.
I'm looking. Have you got a spare crash helmet I can wear that night?
Yeah, I know we're mental. But we've got that coming up. But this week we're doing the Sugar Years, and we'd love to get it. That's on Thursday. Andrew Gregory, cinema, hotel, flats, women's football stadium, golf course, American football, etc. Danielle says, Coys, when's your next stream, guys? We're back on Sunday with a watch along at 4:15. We're now ending off now before Phillips gets sent off to the tower, and he won't be able to come out and play on Sunday. Listen, thank you all for watching. It's been an absolute joy as well. Thank you, Philip, for joining me.
Sorry, I have to go.
No,
very
that's
early
fine.
start in the morning. So
I may pop up tomorrow with a golden gate. Who knows? But whatever you do, we will be back on Sunday, 4:15. Come on, you Spurs! In Conte we trust. Let's beat the dinosaurs and the Bubble Boston EastEnders. We are Tottenham. We're the pride in North London.
Exactly.